FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And we are back on the Financial Survival Network. You're listening to Kerry Lutz. With us now, the master of the trend, publisher of the TrendsJournal, Gerald Celente. Gerald, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kerry.
Hey, always a pleasure. So a couple of things. I want to get to your latest economic prognostications, but first, from your latest edition, Summer Trends Journal, talking about the way people see themselves, the way that you dress, and the food that you put in your body. Been a marked deterioration. You talk about an economic collapse, but a perception, a self-respect collapse that's taken place in the last 2 generations of Americans and probably around the world, right?
Yeah, it is. Basically, it is. It's spreading around the world, and it's spreading as obesity spreads. And China, in Asia, they're eating the American diet of highly processed junk foods, and you can see it in the people. And you see it in the people, you hear it in the music, you listen to it on the street. It's everywhere. And there's a very obvious lack of dignity, self-respect, and passion. I never remember as a young guy growing up people riding down the aisles of supermarkets on electric cars because they're so obese they can't walk. And we're up here in Colonial Kingston, New York, and we have an old supermarket is our headquarters, the old Mohegan Market. They have these big windows out there on the street, and it's a procession of whales and hippopotamuses and elephants. And I'm saying this in all truthfulness. And another thing I've noticed is that not everybody, well, I would say everybody's doing one of the 4 things. As they're walking, they're either speaking on their phones, they're either texting, they're eating, or they're drinking something. And it was never like this before. And then you look at the dress, and, going to a sporting event is, it's a freak show. I was old enough to remember when people used to get dressed up when they used to get on the airlines, taking a plane. Now it's a flying circus. You go to a fine restaurant. In the old days, you had to be dressed up. You didn't get in. It was part of the atmosphere, and the atmosphere changed with the dress. Now you could hear people yelling from 3 tables away as if they own the whole joint, and they could care less about you. So the story is, don't blame Obamacare, blame I don't care. We do have the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and you could have it, the best. It's not going to make any difference. Not when you're seeing type 2 diabetes escalating. This never happened before. Kids didn't have this. And obesity is going to be the greatest plague that's going to hit the nation. And not only our nation, others. You're looking at a lot of cancers related to obesity, numerous health problems. So, and then again, it goes back to the quality of the food. Look at the junk go into the supermarket, you see a stretch of so-called soft drinks that are the whole aisle. And so it's, and all the, I'm a political atheist, so I don't take sides on political, so I say something about a politician. Oh, it's not because I don't like them. I don't like any of them.
For good reason.
Make it clear.
For good reason.
And so what I'm about to say is that, the liberals who love Clinton, Bill, they forget that this is the guy that brought them GMOs. Mm-hmm. This is the guy that brought them bovine growth hormones. Slick Willie's the guy that allowed the drug companies to advertise on TV. They weren't allowed to advertise on TV before that, among other atrocities that he committed with, Iraq and Serbia. But those are just side notes, and deregulating the communications industry is another one, by the way.
So like you look at this and, it's just shocking. Just take a trip to the mall. And like you said, you see these electric carts, which Medicare is paying for them. And that's a massive fraud in itself. All of these electric wheelchairs and scooters and everything else. There was just an article about that. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fraud. They just got their hands around that after 15 years. But, it's this lack of self-respect because you do have alternatives. You don't have to have a double gulp soda. You can actually drink water or, some type of juice. But yet, why do Americans just go for the for the mega dose of calories, Gerald? What is it in our character that has just numbed us to the healthy choice? I'm just not getting it, I guess, because look, up until recently, I kind of was predisposed to that. And then I made the decision that, look, I got type 2 diabetes. The only way I'm getting rid of it is to lose 20 pounds. And I did it. And you know what? It went away. It went away,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still predisposed to it, but as long as I don't go have 5 donuts at Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme, my blood sugar's in check. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I know. The first book I worked on was Natural Healing back in the mid-'80s. My former wife was very sick with colitis, and I went on a whole crusade in trying to cure her because they wanted to do that massive operation where you can actually take your anus out, put a bag in, and take out your... And I did, and that's how she made it. She totally healed. Mm-hmm. And so I also have an honorary doctorate in integrative medicine from the National University of Health Sciences. Yeah. So I've been at this a lot of years. And it's just, it's not easy for anybody. I love to eat. I'm Italian. I mean, it's really, it's about. But there's another part of you mentioned about the fraud of Medicare. Mm-hmm. For many years, being a business owner, and I try to stay away from the doctors because I try to really take care of myself. I would just have catastrophic care. Uh-huh. And in New York State, I could buy this Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield. These cost me like $600 a year.
They won't let you do that anymore, of course.
No, I'm paying triple the amount more for Medicare because I'm over, I'm 67.
Right.
I'm paying triple the amount that I was more. Mm-hmm. On Medicare. And then I had to get another plan to go on top of it to cover the other 20%. Because again, if I only want it for catastrophic, so if I end up with something really serious and paying 20% of something really serious, that's big dough.
Yeah, that'll break you.
Yeah. So anyway, so when you mentioned Medicare, the fraud, it's one fraud from top to bottom. It's the immoral wars that they're fighting. Hey, how about that humanitarian mission? We saved those Christians on the mountain in Iraq. Oh yeah, now they're bombing the hell out of them over the ISIS over there, and helping those Kurds, our pals, the Kurds. Another BS excuse for more militarization, for more war, as the country goes down the crapper. Mm-hmm. And they keep stealing our dough.
Well, we need more military orders to the contractors, right? Because they're not making enough money, right? We got to be.
That's what Eisenhower warned us about.
Yeah. So, but it's just, I can't figure out why, you always go for the 32 ounces of Coke rather than 32 ounces of water. Is that like a brain thing? Is that like societal?
It's societal. People, And it's really just it happens at so many different levels. I'm really convinced, Kerry, it happens with music, and I'll tell you why. I mentioned I'm of Italian descent.
Sure.
And the Italians had nearly a bloodless revolution in the 1800s. Because in the 1800s, Germany, Austria, Hungary, France, Spain, they all had a piece of the action. They were all occupying different places of Italy. And the Calabrese and the Neapolitans basically spoke a different language. It was one of the missions of Giuseppe Verdi, of course, the great composer, to unite Italy. And his passion was to do it with music. And he did. He used music to instill the spirit within the Italian people to overthrow their repressors. It's a fact. Uh-huh. The model exists. And it was nearly a bloodless revolution. You ask about, who are the great Italian warriors, they come up with one or two guys, and that's about it. And because nobody knows because there wasn't that kind of fighting. The people did it. And then you go back, let's fast forward, and I'm on the phone, we're off the air. I said, listen, Terry, I want to talk to you about this great idea I have. We're going to take the lowest common denominator of society, the people in prison, that we don't give shoelaces to or belts to because they'll strangle people with them or kill them with them.
Right.
And we're going to take their language and their dress style, and we're going to create music and a fashion style from it. We're going to call it gangster rap. We're going to the lowest common denominator in civilization, and we're going to make that the model for young people to aspire to. You get off the phone and you say to your producer, who's this lunatic we just had on? Who's this sick man? He must be a low life from Hollywood. He must be one of those slime balls that would sell out their mother to make $1. Yeah. That's who they are, and they did it. So you asked why people drink crap, talk like crap, and look like crap? Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right there in front of everybody's face, and they don't want to call a spade a spade. That's who they are. The lowest slime on earth. The music industry and the movie industry. They sell you shit, and the people buy it. They listen to it on TV. They see it in the streets. It's in the advertisements, and they pop up the lowlifes. We have a photo in the Trends Journal of Sarah Vaughan singing and Miley Cyrus. You want to see a freak show? There she is.
I'm looking at it right now, and I laughed when I saw it. It's just, the contrast. And then there's a picture of Cary Grant dressed so dapperly. And then there's these gangster rappers. And then the picture of people dining on the airplane with white glove service. And then a guy eating a slice of pizza out of a box and the strings of cheese. And it's just turns your stomach, you know?
And it's not even cheese. It's fake
whatever
cheese.
It is. Yeah. Government cheese.
Yeah, government cheese. That could be. That's it. They should. They call that the press conferences. They have government cheese. You know.
And you just like, what are we coming to here?
I know. I'm old enough to remember. I was flying first class around 1974.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to be a top government affairs specialist for the chemical industry, by the way, in D.C. and Chicago.
Better living through chemistry.
Well, you know, that's how I learned what I learned. I was on the other side,
mm-hmm.
you know, and I was at 23, I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, so I was in the system, so I know what it looked. But anyway, I used to fly, and I remember they used to ask you, do you want lobster thermit or a prime roast? I'm serious. That was just first class.
I know. And gone are the days. And yeah, you used to get dressed up to go on the plane. I remember wearing a jacket, and you know, it was a big event. And now it's an Airbus, literally.
It's steerage class.
Yeah, steerage. And yeah, so getting to this collapse now. So we see, except in certain areas of the country, just housing prices going down, you know, for rent signs all over, for sale signs. And, you know, Walmart sales have been going down. I think it's 5 straight quarters. Their sales have gone down. I mean, you know, now we're finding out that one of their largest contributors to sales are EBT cards, right? And that's been cut back. So their sales have been cut back. So it's a slow moving, slow motion collapse, kind of like when you see on TV, the cars kind of collide in the race. You know, it happens real slowly, but it's happening nonetheless, isn't it?
Well, it's not only here. You go to the China Daily.
Yeah.
And you'll see, home prices declined in 67 out of 70 cities. Home prices declining in London.
Mm-hmm.
It's going global. Look at oil prices. Oil prices don't lie.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sure, they manipulate the markets to an extent, but I follow this stuff every day. Oil's been on a downward, and I would have thought the prices would have gone up. Demand is so soft that now you're looking at Brent crude going under $1.
Under $100 a barrel there. Yeah. Amazing. Yep. And gasoline, you know, it's all over the place.
Yep. Yeah. So we're looking at a situation here where it's a global slowdown.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what are they going to do? They're going to print more money, right?
That's what that's the big problem. They can't print because they have to. You're hearing about the tapering going on. They know that we're in a bubble, and it has to, at some point, they're going to have to raise interest rates. When interest rates go up, the economy goes down. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And the interest rates are going to have to go up.
Yeah, and
when they do, you're going to see a collapse of collapses. And then what they're going to do is they're going to then come up with another quantitative easing program. They'll call it something else. And when they do, that's when you're going to see gold prices and silver prices soar. Mm-hmm. So they're retracting now. They'll retract again when interest rates go up. But when the world market starts shaking and they have to juice the markets again with cheap dough, that's what they're going to do. They'll come out with a new scam to get more cheap money into the system.
Yeah, well, there's never a shortage of scams by these hucksters.
No.
But I think that what you're doing, your local initiative, if you will, is really the only thing that can work for the average person, right? There's no other way out. There's no other way, right?
No, and by the way, Kerry, we're going to be launching an Occupy Peace movement.
Yeah.
And we have, we're going to really be going full blast with it. And we're going to be coming out with some very, very easy to do things that we believe could change the course of this country. I'm not at liberty to say them right now. And a lot of it, on a bigger picture, a lot of it has to do with shrinking Washington. We have a way of doing it. Demilitarizing the nation with the police, and which, of course, was a story in the TrendsJournal, as you see before, what happened in Ferguson. Mm-hmm. We've been writing about this for years. And also a self-sustaining economy, and that's the key. With 316 million people, we're the richest rich countries in the world. We could make our own shirts, our own shoes, and we could grow our own food and make our own equipment. We don't need anybody else.
Yeah, and we don't need to be throwing all this good stuff in the garbage, but that's the other flip side of the food that we do is that, the throwaway society. We just throw everything in the garbage. Everything's designed that you use it a little while and it's not really used up, but something goes wrong and it goes in the garbage. You can't even find anything to fix anything anymore. It just goes in the garbage. It's just the waste in our society is just breathtaking. It's sinful.
I know. Again, well, everything is wasteful. Again, we're talking about, the government. You want to talk about government waste? Let's look at the Pentagon. And then, of course, this whole VA scandal comes out. Yeah, no kidding. You can look at any agency and you'll see the same scandal, just a different way.
Yeah.
Everything is waste.
Two-thirds of everything that goes to the government is just consumed in waste and inefficiency. That's my guess, but it could be more in some of them. Some of these agencies shouldn't exist at all. Exactly.
And that's what we're going to be doing with OccupyPeace.us. And anybody wants to sign up, get us on the rolls, and we'll tell you, keep them informed of what's happening. Your story about you losing weight and getting rid of diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I mean, that's all it usually takes, and you feel much better.
And high blood pressure too. My blood pressure at sometimes was as high as 165 over 100. I got it taken the other day. I was 126 over 88. I'm 57. It's fine for that age. And I work out, so I hadn't been working out lately because I hurt my shoulder. Normally, it would just be perfectly normal. And yeah, I feel much better. And all I had to do was lose the weight.
That's it.
It was it.
And so when people ask me, how are things going to change? I always make it clear, nothing is going to change until the people change.
Yeah.
We had a conference here, this past August 1st, actually. And it was called History Before It Happens Conference. We're having another one in the middle of October. People from all over the world came here, from Japan, Australia, from Switzerland, around the world. And one of the attendees was a priest. Catholic and me, talking about the Pope. I was giving him the Pope to me is a joke, Not a peep about what's going on with the Palestinians, nothing about, slaughter going on, but great photo ops, Yeah. Anyway, this priest tells me he heard me on his show, looked me up, because what I just said about, the host asked me, when will things change? And I said, it won't change until people get the courage, dignity, self-respect, and passion to change it. He said, I looked you up and I saw you were on Gary Null. Gary Null is he's one of the pioneers in health and nutrition, and a friend of mine. So he looked me up and he saw I was on his show. He started listening to his show. This priest lost over 120 pounds.
Really?
when I saw him, you would have never known that this guy was that heavy.
Wow.
And he's not a young cat, you know. Mm-hmm. And he came up here to thank me. I said, you don't have to thank me. He said, no, you opened my eyes up to something new. And he's, by the way, he's very upset with the direction things are going to, the organization of the church. You know, everybody forgot, like the Pope came out, like he almost said it was okay to bomb those ISIS people because they were threatening those Christians on the mountain. Oh yeah, Jesus would have been all right for that. Yeah, bombs away. I think that was in the Bible, right? Yeah, Jesus said that. Yeah. Nuke 'em. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So anyway, he changed his life, and now he's taking that message, and he's in a very poor area of. And I don't want to say where because I don't want to.
Sure.
But he's a very poor area, and he's inspiring the young people to do this too.
Oh, that's
and it's really so. Yeah. So that's really basically the story. When each of us live the lives that we think we can live the best, that's when things are going to change because you don't take crap from jerks. Mm-hmm. When you have your confidence and your self-respect, your dignity and your courage, you tell these people, get the hell out of here. Don't you tell me how to run my life.
Yeah.
I'm an American. I know how to do it, and you're not. Everybody to me that wants to become involved in foreign entanglements is a traitor to the founding fathers.
Yeah.
Oh, there were wars going on back then, big time.
Washington said, issued a warning, beware of foreign entanglements.
That's his farewell address.
Yeah, and it should be read. It should be mandatory reading, but, they don't teach. I don't think they teach history in school anymore, Gerald, do they?
But
do they teach anything in school?
Yeah. Gender studies.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Right.
Now, I have to tell you, I hear all these women's study courses they have. I think it's, sexist. How come there are no men's study courses?
Yeah. Anything that ends with studies, is a vacuous course.
Yeah, I am always hearing this "if only women were in charge" thing, And Hillary Clinton, the lovely hawk that she is, Samantha Powers, Susan Rice, Condoleezza Rice. Let's bomb the hell out of everybody.
Valerie Jarrett is in charge.
Oh yeah. If only women were in charge. Right. So take it easy, ladies. I'm only joking around here. Let's make it light. But this whole thing about gender studies or women's studies, what are you going to do with a degree when you get out like that?
Yeah, it's pretty much.
And really, how come there are no men's studies? Why are we always the bad guys?
Yeah.
I'm a jazz fan. I listen to all this old blues and stuff. Every song that you ever heard from the 1930s, 40s, 50s is "My baby left me and she don't love me anymore." Yeah. But no, the guys are the bad guys now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're teaching us a lot of crap in school because colleges and education was working. You think we'd have the problems that we have now.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have the debt. We wouldn't have a $1.3 trillion debt bubble. People would be paying off their debt a lot faster if college was worth getting into debt for. So anyway, hey, your conference is coming up in October. Just tell us how to sign up for that.
Go to our website at TrendsJournal.com. And what I'm going to be doing is teaching trend forecasting as part of the conference.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm going to show people the way I do it. I think I'm the only guy that's ever written the book on it, trend tracking, and of course the Trends Journal. So that's going to be part of the conference. The last one was a huge success, and it's in Colonial Kingston. We're going to be holding the classes at the 1774 Academy that we renovated, and we use our building, the Mohegan, for events, and we had a beautiful party in the garden, the Franz Rogan Garden, 1750s Franz Rogan House. So, we put on it's a great time and wonderful like-minded people from all over the world. It was really great to see. And our CEO, Gerald Celente, who was, by the way, at one time the editor-in-chief of Gannett News, and this guy's been around.
Sure.
And he's put on hundreds and hundreds of conferences. He said he's never seen a group of people more in tune with each other and more engaging with each other than this meeting that we had.
Oh, well, that's great. And wish you the best on it. And hey, find the link over at financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for a newsletter. Gerald, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on. We'll talk with you again soon.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Every day, the Financial Survival Network reaches tens of thousands of listeners and would like to reach thousands more. By adding a video channel and more show hosts, we think we can make that happen. But we need your help. If you're a regular listener of FSN and would like to help, please go to clubfsn.com to donate monthly from $1 to $100. The choice is yours, but every bit counts. There are premiums available for you, but the biggest one by far is you helping FSN get the message out to your friends and family to be prepared, hopeful, and ready. That's what FSN is all about, and that's why you listen. So go to clubfsn.com and help us get the word out before it's too late.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.